So, hello, Helle. First, I want to know that do you remember when you heard metal music for the first time?
Well, actually, it was quite late. I was already at my university, and one of my friends challenged me to listen to the Cannibal Corpse album entirely, like from start to finish. And if I could do it, he would give me a chocolate. I got a chocolate, and I was hooked since then. And then I think I went to my first show, which was Gamma Ray and Hatebreed in Kiev. So I started pretty, solid from the very start. So I think that I was already like 16. It was quite late.
Okay, but that's interesting way to start, like by listening to Cannibal Corpse. Normally you're getting like from some softer bands to the like more extreme, but you jumped and dived immediately to like the deepest part of the pool.
Right into the hurricane, yeah.
So what made you become a musician and what made you become a metal vocalist?
Well, actually, I played classical guitar at a music school, and that was my first instrument. I sang in a choir at musical school because it was mandatory, but I really wanted to become a guitarist. Then I had some issue with my arm, so I realized I couldn't do like super fast professional technique. And everyone always asked me to sing, and this is how like gradually I became a vocalist. That's all, like very easy.
So how did you become a metal vocalist?
Yeah, I would say that I did some vocals in a few bands that normally played cover songs, song covers, and some of them also wanted to do like more extreme vocals. Let's say also sing like the songs of Amorphis, for example. And this is when I just started trying to growl. Back then you didn't really have, that was 10 years ago, and you didn't really have like a lot of metal vocal coaches or YouTube videos. It was really hard, so I tried it a very bad way, so it's just pushing it, and just screaming, not in a good way. So gradually I just learned it my way. Then when we already had some more opportunities, I took a few lessons, but more to polish my technique, to expand it a little bit. But usually what I try is that I try to pick some advice from different metal vocalists or coaches and apply it onto my voice. And this is how it works for me.
So what kind of like early memories do you have when it comes to the screaming? Were you like losing your voice all the time? And did it take like long time to figure out the right technique for it?
Yeah, it took like time. And I would say that even like on our first several records, now I realize that maybe I didn't do it the healthy way completely, because let's say I would be recording a song and at the end of the day, like my voice was completely down, or I couldn't scream like the entire verse. So I had to record it like line by line, So it took some time, but now it's way better, and we're now at our 41st show. So it's working, but it just takes a lot of practice, and extreme vocals, they require a lot of breath support and like solid technique. So that's why you just have to practice. It's as if you're going to a gym,
Yeah, it's a muscle, so you need to sort of be ready for it.
Exactly, yeah.
So in terms of like the early career, were you sort of like first mimicking your like favorite vocalist and learning way to do things, or were you like immediately try to do things your own way?
I would say I pretty much never tried to mimic anyone. Maybe it's a bad thing. Maybe this would have brought me faster, to a good technique. But what I tried is that, let's say I needed to sing a song by someone, and I just tried doing it my way. What I can say is that a few years ago, I was thinking of maybe doing something else or just polishing my technique. And what helped me is that I tried listening to Whitechapel, and they have, very long verses with growls where you don't have a lot of breath to take. And it's a very good exercise. It's very fast. And the vocals, especially for a woman, are quite low. So when I tried doing that, I actually improved my low growls a lot, just trying not to just mimic, but to keep in pace with what the vocalist is doing. So what I can say for sure is that I never tried to mimic female extreme growlers. I respect them, I appreciate them a lot, but I just don't want to copy anyone,
So what were like your biggest influences as a vocalist? Was it like Tommy Joutsen from Amorphis and Phil Boseman from Whitechapel, or?
Yeah, so again, I'm not trying to say that they influenced my technique a lot, but I've been to Amorphis show for the first time at Inferno Metal Festival this spring, and to me, his growls are like the most comforting to my ear, I just hear that he does it in a healthy way. They have all the frequencies that I love and everything. So it sounds just very good to me. And let's say I don't really listen to metalcore. I like it, but it sounds pretty much the same to me. And they use more fry scream, which is not my technique.
Yeah.
So that's why Amorphis and Whitechapel are closer to my ear. I like lower growls. I like when they have a lot of frequencies in them so that they're not dry, So I think that, my perception is a little bit confused because I'm also a vocalist, so I cannot fully enjoy it just as a listener, but I appreciate it a lot when I can come to a show and I hear the growls in a healthy way, in a very good position and placement, and everything is just so much more enjoyable to me,
So obviously you are now on a long tour. So how has it been as an experience as a vocalist? And have you learned something new about yourself on this long run?
Yeah, I learned that I can actually do nearly 2 months of touring because I was really afraid about it. And the challenge that we have as an opening, as a support band, is that we also sell merch on our own. So aside from being on stage, I have a lot of place where I have to talk. And sometimes the merch table is also next to the stage, so you have to scream, not growl, but be very loud, talking
Use voice in a very harmful way.
Yes, and this is where actually your voice really goes down, and it's a long tour, so half of the bus has been ill, several times. So, unfortunately, I lost my voice about a week ago. It was completely away. Because of the virus or whatever. So I really had to cancel one performance. My guys played instrumentally, but that was just one day. And then I tried to play around it. At one show, I only sang clean vocals without growls. So we made it a special show, and this is what I also recommend to other vocalists, don't try to push it, especially if you still have several weeks of touring. Yeah. We made it work and people really appreciate it. So, and now I'm back on track. What I learned, playing every night, it can be both challenging, but it also brings your vocals to another level because you learn to be more efficient. I already know that, of course, I have all my vocal zone pastilles, vocal tea, less caffeine, less alcohol, whatever. But yeah, it works. But all the things that other vocalists advise you to do, it works. You have to do it if you want to be sustainable on the tour. That's all.
So do you have a specific warm-up routine that you follow, and has that changed on a long tour? Do you need to warm up less?
I wouldn't say less, but definitely there were a few nights because of schedule. I didn't have a chance to warm up because, selling merch, doing interviews, sometimes we were late to the show. And definitely when I don't do any warm up, it's worse after the show. So I try to find at least 5 minutes. So even if it's 5 minutes, it's fine. And also, pretty much everyone, all vocalists on this tour, we bought ourselves a steamer, like some kind of a steamer.
Okay.
So it also helps a lot. But there is also like a common misconception that some vocalists use it before the show to warm up, which is actually very bad because the steam, it loosens your vocal cords and they relax. So if you try to sing right after steaming, it will then destroy your vocal cords a little bit. Like it may cause some damage. So what I do, this is my warm down after the show.
Okay, so cooling off sort of.
Yeah. So basically, the ideal way is to do it before going to sleep. So you do like 15 minutes of steaming, you go to sleep, and your vocal cords are hydrated, rested, and you keep it silent through the night. So it's really cool. So I wanted to say that a warm down is as much important as a warm up. And I don't warm up for a long time because it's going to be another like overload on vocal cords. But 5 minutes, maybe doing some breath exercises also, it's cool.
Okay. So are there like some foods or drinks that you have felt that they help you with the singing, that you want to take before the show?
Yeah, through the several years, I found my perfect vocal tea, and this is actually like the Yogi Tea Throat Comfort, and it's just a herbal blend that is perfect to smooth your voice, and basically it's so good to me that I order it in bulk from iHerb. You can also find it pretty much everywhere in Europe. And this is what I also drink not only before the show, but also at the show on stage. So I don't have water, I have like a metal mug with a lid on it, and I sip it during the show as well. So I highly recommend it because like coffee has caffeine, it dehydrates you. So I drink coffee, of course, but I do it like in the morning, like on tour. So this tea for me is a game changer. I also take it to the studio if I record something. It's really cool.
Okay. So obviously you have released 4 albums with Ignea so far. Are there like some specific albums that you could pinpoint where you have felt that you are taking like big step forward as a vocalist?
Yeah, I would say that the last album was like this because, again, this is when I felt that I'm finally completely solid with my technique and it allows me to play around a little more so I can use both like low growls or high screams. I can pitch the growls as well. And this is like, I feel that every album is just a step up in terms of everything, including the vocals. I mean, it was a bit stressful, a bit for us because we were finishing the recording when the war already started. So it was an extra stress put on top of the vocals. But other than that, the last album, Dreams of Lands Unseen, is like a huge step up for us.
Did you do like some new things vocally on the album that you haven't done before? Yeah,
it's interesting that I would say that I started doing it even more on this tour because, I mean, you sing every night and aside from the last week, we had the same songs every night. So, of course, not to get bored, you want to start play around it. And I would say that I tried to add more theatrical touch to it, so maybe more whispering or more like drama when it's applicable and everything. So I would say that it's just more theatrical, I would say, and it brings even more atmosphere, especially to our music because we do a lot of storytelling, so it adds up the atmosphere.
So do you have like a specific way to hold the microphone when you perform?
Yeah, I would say, especially for growls, for me, it's so much more comfortable when I hold it like with two of my hands, on like if I have like a very long growl, than standing up like this, maybe to have like your leg on the riser or whatnot, and hold it with two hands. It's like the most, it's the placement that helps me the most. So when I have like some clean vocals, it doesn't really matter. I normally use my right hand to hold the mic, but yeah, this is how it goes.
So what were like your parents' reactions when they heard you first time screaming your lungs out?
To be honest, like I still never have done it in front of them, directly, because I don't know, it feels weird to me. But I remember that we released a very soft lullaby, like my clean vocals with orchestra only, and I showed them and like, oh, take a look, it's such a nice song. And my mom was like, well, I actually prefer when you scream, and I'm like, okay, I didn't know that, So it still feels weird, but they are they're quite supportive, They don't listen to metal in general, but they enjoy our music, so I'm happy about it.
Yeah, and they seem to support you if they like also the screaming aspect
exactly,
of it.
Yes.
Last question, any kind of advice that you would like to give to a young metal vocalist who's just about to start their journey?
Yeah, to be honest, like if you haven't started growling at all, I really suggest that you find a vocal coach, even if there is no in your city or around you. There are a lot of them online. Just maybe ask some fellow vocalists who can recommend them to you. Because if you start growling in a safe way from the very start, it will save you a lot of years, vocal health, and it will just bring you faster like on your journey, that's for sure. And of course, if you're gonna do like longer tours, pay attention to your vocal health and don't neglect the advice that other vocalists are giving you, because if you don't do it, you won't be able to tour for 2 months long.
Thanks a lot for taking the time.
Thank you.